Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Leading Our Own Way. I'm your host, I'm Andrew White, and I hope you've had all a great week since we last seen you last Wednesday, since the last episode dropped. I hope you've used the rest of the time to go and catch up, press the follow button, and obviously give us a review. Well, today's guest is Mr. Danny Shannon. Danny is a recovery advocate, all-round weapon of honesty, and the founder of Encapsulator, a video journaling platform built around a simple but powerful idea: recording a message to your future self and let hope do the heavy lifting. But there's so much more to the app, so tune in and listen to it because it's absolutely incredible. Now, fair warning, this chat is raw, it's real, and somehow still full of laughs, because Danny's got that rare gift of being able to talk about the darkest chapters without losing the light. He opens up about a 15-year-old heroin addict himself, prison, the moments that nearly broke him, and the moments that finally, definitely rebuilt him. What a character, what a great guy, what a dude. Just becoming a good mate, let's say. They all do, don't they? We also get into what addiction really does to mental health, why storytelling can be a lifeline, and how revisiting your own words can become accountability, motivation, and proof that change is possible. All right, part one starts now. Here's Danny Shannon and myself. Welcome to Leading Our Own Way. I'm your host, Andrew White, and this is the podcast that unveils captivating narratives of resilience and personal triumph. This podcast is for anyone seeking inspiration and insights on overcoming life's challenges. Follow and subscribe, and then we can lead together forever. Before we dive in, I want to give a big, massive shout out to our now new proud sponsor, Eshu Skincare, a brand that truly aligns with Leading Our Own Way. This Australian-born company is dedicated to keeping skincare simple, effective, and straightforward. They've made waves in the US, even landed in Macy's and over 300 stores, and now they're back with a renewed focus on healthy skin and real results. If you want authentic skincare that fits your lifestyle, check them out in the show notes. Thanks to Eshu Skincare for supporting real stories and mental fitness on Leading Our Own Way. And if you're interested in sponsoring like Eshu Skincare, drop us a message. We'd love to connect. Danny Shannon, welcome to Leading Our Own Way. How are you doing on this beautiful day here in Australia?
Lovely, Andy. I'm very good, mate. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come on and share a little bit about what I'm doing, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's such an honor to have you here, Danny. And we've met a few times in the realm of some of the people, my former guests around Melbourne. I know you fly down. Where actually are you based, Danny?
I'm in Sydney. Yeah, I do get around a bit.
You
And
do?
such an incredible part of, I guess, the work that I'm doing is one of the things that lights me up, so much is being able to network with other creators, people in the industry, sharing my messages of love and hope wherever I can. So it's cool. Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. It's an absolute pleasure, like I mentioned. Yeah, we met through now a good friend, former guest Troy Conscious, and Dennis from Run
Troy,
That Rehab.
yeah,
Shout out for all those guys.
yeah,
And
shout out
Cap
to the boys.
Carter. We met actually at Cap Carter's concert in Melbourne. Um,
Yep.
And I've been following your journey for a while. I try not to watch too much because I want my reactions to be authentic when we do record. But I definitely know who you are, Danny, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show. And you follow podcaster as well. You're doing wonderful things with the new podcast. Actually, that's probably a good place to start. How would you consider you are leading your own way?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, if you think about where it come from, I used to use a lot of drugs. I don't anymore. It's been quite some time, around about 16 years, 3 months, and 22 days, but who's
Who's
counting?
counting?
But I guess today, my day is structured around, meetings. I'm the founder of Encapsulator, which is a very unique, innovative video journaling learning management system. So we basically allow coaches to build programs on our platform and share a message with the world through their stories. And Encapsulator also has a learning ability where clients, individuals, can record videos to their future self. So it's kind of like a little way when we talk about our hopes, our dreams, our fears, the things that we're learning out loud, we reinforce that stuff because a problem shared is a problem halved. And the ability to express yourself in a private, confidential space without any judgment from the outside world is very powerful. It keeps you accountable, motivated. Anyway, mate, so that's one of the things that I do spend my time. I do a lot of creating. I'm a a social media creator. I've I've got this bug, man. Like I hear people talk about not knowing what to make, but fuck, I just don't have. I post too much. It's crazy. I've become really good at creating what I would hope is pretty good quality content, and there's never enough room. You mentioned the podcast, and so now I've got a whole bunch. I've probably got another 20 reels per week just coming in from bloody podcast stuff. So
You'll be
it's
everywhere,
it's it's
Danny.
a pleasure. It's a gift, and most importantly, Andy, I speak to people all around the world on a daily basis. People struggling with addiction, cocaine addiction, a big one at the moment that I keep coming up against, and also gambling too. Gambling. As you see, there's ads. You're at having dinner at a pub. You're hearing the music of the poker machines in the background, like it's
It's
real
everywhere.
cunning. You know.
It,
Yeah.
it it's interesting that though, isn't it? Because we could look at obviously being addicted to drugs, to alcohol, sex, porn, whatever it may be, sugar, food, even. Um,
Absolutely.
it's the same physiological response, isn't it, to the
Yeah.
body? It's
Yeah,
it,
it
it's
is.
an
I guess
addiction
some of them are a little bit more dangerous than others, but
for
absolutely,
sure.
like it's that need to fill a hole, to fill a void, to change the way I feel.
Yeah,
And look, thank goodness today with my life. I don't get me wrong, I fucking certainly have my vices, but at least I'm able to sort of put it into a balance.
yeah.
And I don't use any substances to change the way I feel.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I mean, we'll talk about how you got there and those pivotal moments shortly. But let's just go back to the encapsulator because I think that's such a unique. I've never seen anything like that before. And when I first heard of it through a former guest and somebody I did some speaking for, Tessa Jetson as well.
Oh,
Um,
bless.
yeah, that was incredible. When I heard it, I was like, "Oh, that's amazing." So I suppose my question to you on the encapsulator is: did the idea for that coming about was because did you do any videos to be able to look at your futures, or did you do a video not even thinking about the future? And then when the future arrived and you
Yeah.
look back at your old videos, is that how it came about, or was it a
Mate,
completely different
in
approach?
2016, I sat in my office at work at a rehab. I was working at the same rehab I was once a client at. I was celebrating a milestone. I was feeling full of gratitude. And I sat there thinking, fuck, I wonder what I was like when I entered those doors. What was I thinking? How was I feeling? Um, and I thought, you know what? I was feeling a little bit creative. I thought I'm going to record a video to my future self for my 10-year milestone. At the time, I was around about 5 or 6 years clean and sober, and I thought, what would I say to myself in the future? So I did a little bit of research on questions that you might talk to your future self about. I printed them out on a piece of paper. I started the camera rolling. It was just I had a little Canon camera, and I started the camera rolling, and immediately when I started talking, I felt this really weird, unique process. Like this was me talking to my future self. It felt very therapeutic, and I started to think about you know if I'm going to be okay, my loved ones. I thought about my hopes, my dreams. I answered these questions, and I thought this is really unique. And I also imagined what it would be like for my clients that I was working with to be able to record their messages, because so often, Andy, people come up to me and say, Danny, it's fucked. Like when is things going to get better? Like I haven't changed. Well, as a worker, I see so much growth and so much change in people, and we don't see it for ourselves. So I thought, imagine if they could go, well, here, Johnny, take a look at the video you made when you come in. Look how far you have come. And that's basically where the concept was born from. And in 2017, around about 12 months later, I recorded about 50 videos actually by then. So I had clients come in with their permission. I sat them in a room by themselves. They recorded their videos. Every single one of them came out there like, wow, dude. Like I never cry. I got emotional. They want to start talking to me as a caseworker about things that they said. So I noticed it was building rapport between the worker and the client. They said, when can I see it? Or I'd say, no, you don't get it for a year or 2 years' time. At
Yeah,
the time, we were locking them away. And I just thought this would be an incredible tool for anybody on a journey of personal development. And as I was saying, I went to America in 2017, and I did this amazing trip basically through the Bronx of from LA to New York. I traveled 6,000 miles, and I was following like 12-step fellowship meetings actually. So what that would do is it take me to like the shit shows of America. I also went to the beautiful places. I was in Hollywood, I was in Florida, but I'd also go to NA meetings, and I met all these incredible entrepreneurs, man. People who they did not get looked at. I did 49 cracks of rehab here in Australia. In America, you don't get that opportunity. You need to have insurance, or you need to have cash to be able to go to rehab and detox mostly. And
Yeah.
anyway, by the time I hit New York, after meeting a whole bunch of incredible people in recovery, hustling. I thought, you know what, fuck it, and I came up with this idea to build an app. Take my time capsule concept and turn it into something that we can help individuals out there, recovering or mental health or personal development, people wanting to record messages of love and hope to their future self. And Encapsulator was born, mate. That's basically
Yeah.
how it came about.
I love it. I mean, I can feel it because when I can understand the concept when the
Yeah,
feeling that somebody might get. I mean, they'll be more powerful for your clients than it would be for me. But even when I look back at like the beginning of this podcast, it's obviously all documented. When I
yeah,
watch something back and I can actually see how I've grown as maybe as a talker, as a host, just somebody hosting a podcast that simple, and so I can imagine how powerful it would be for you guys. What was it like for you? Sorry, actually, before I ask that one, what was the timeline between when you recorded a particular video that comes to memory to when you did later watch it down the track?
yeah.
How long was
Bro,
that period of time?
this is probably the most remarkable thing. 5 years, mate. I literally
Wow.
waited 5 years. I watched my video 5 years later, and it gave me goosebumps to
Ah,
see that guy. You got to keep in mind, I was already 5 years sober at the time, so it wasn't as if I'd come from the fucking trenches at the time. But I
yeah,
was 5 years sober at the time. But mate, I was like the shell of a human being. Like to look at me then, I was actually I was quite heavy. I had a big head. I remember I could see like the fear and anxiety in me as I was talking to, and I watched that video and it gave me goosebumps because the incredible thing is that in that video, and it's out there on the internet. I'll share the link with you.
yeah,
In that video, I talked about a whole bunch of things that I'd hoped to achieve, and the most incredible things was that I achieved all of them. Now I understand that's not going to be um, everyone's experiences, and what I've found is people who even fall off the wagon, rewatching their videos helps motivate them to get back on track. But in my case, there's two huge things, right? One of them was I talked about my son, right? When I watched the video, I had a daughter, so there was like this incredible like thing, like I was talking about my son, and I said, "Oh my god!" And I've got a Malia now, so I had this daughter too. I talked about wanting to buy a house, and I had bought the house. I talked about hoping I was still okay while I was, 10 years sober. So all these really incredible things, ha- nostalgic moments that I was able to rewatch. I just knew it was a very very powerful tool.
very. Oh, I love it. And imagine if how it would have been for you if you'd done it during the mist of the darkness as well. That somebody would have done for you, which you're doing for everybody else, right?
That's
Imagine that.
exactly right, Andy. I've actually had the honor because we've got hundreds of videos out there, if not thousands of people in the beginning of their journeys, transforming through a timeline. So today, Encapsulate is built in such a way that you can use it daily. The app, we've got our daily journaling function. So we have a series of questions. I call it the little checkup from the neck up, a little daily inventory. What did I do good today? Is there
Love
something I
that.
could do better tomorrow? Just a series of questions that help you guide you on a journey. And what happens is the more we talk about our issues or even our wins out loud, we break down the barriers. We improve our confidence, our self-esteem. A problem shared is a problem halved, and we become way more likely to talk about that stuff because we've named it to somebody who maybe we need to seek help from. as well. So it's a very powerful tool to help people explore those thoughts and feelings in a private space.
Yeah, I agree. I think talking about those little wins and recording them is huge because when I was in the midst of my darkness, I'm quite the opposite to most, not most guys. That's horrible. I can't say that, but I'm
Yeah,
not a guy that shuts down. I am an open book. Even when I
yeah,
was
I
going
love
through
that.
it, I was still a talker. I was still myself in that regard. I'd talk on the dog park to strangers. I'd open up to them and definitely to my friends and family and whatnot. But it was still the flip side to that, though. I felt the energy like, here we go again. You know what I mean? Here we go again, the eyes rolling. You can feel the eyes rolling inside the head. So I became closed off because of that. So what I realized through my journey was I'd vent every day, but those undesired emotions are released. But when I go to sleep, the next day release starts all over again. That pivotal change, that crisis hadn't. Yes, crisis had happened, but only the near death experience was what made me change the trajectory of my life. Because the pain, I believe crisis often occurs when pain of the staying the same is greater than the pain of making a change,
Love that. Yeah,
right?
true.
And I got that from one of my guests in her book. And for me, yeah, that venting is powerful, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't talking about the wins. I was talking about the victim I was in. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
yeah.
So I think that's where the encapsulator is really powerful, talking about those little wins and the big wins as well, of course. What was so for you then? What could you share a typical scenario that just popped out in your mind from where somebody started on their journey in the encapsulator to where maybe they listened? I know you shared yours, but is there a client one that you can,
Yeah,
obviously without
great,
sharing
great.
names or anything?
Great. Like one of the probably the most powerful and most common ones is people, like think about low self-esteem or the ability not to talk up for ourselves. You just touched on that. Then, I definitely have heard repeatedly, time after time, that people that are engaging in the platform on a regular basis build a little more confidence. Because the thing is, and I know this as a creative because I make videos. I think back to 2017 when I first launched Encapsulator. I started making video content. I remember I felt really cringe, awkward on
Yeah, me
screen.
too.
Well, the more I did it, I can look back to then. Today it's completely different. But the feedback, sorry, from individuals has been that they, by looking at themselves on camera and saying, talking out loud, it helps build self-esteem and confidence, and they feel more likely to speak up for themselves. Because it's kind of like when you see yourself do it repeatedly, you stop judging quite so much. There's always judgment. Let's not, but,
Always. Yeah.
but it's like maybe I'm not as bad as I thought I was. That's some of the feedback. But more importantly, people being really angry when they watch their videos and feel way more at peace. People talked about unrealistic goals in the future, but then they realize when they watch their videos, fuck, the peace that I have today just with the simple things is so much better. Like one of the, I'll never forget, somebody said to me in my early days of recovery, Danny, if you made a list of all the things you want in 5 years' time, you'd be selling yourself short.
Mm.
And 5 years later, I remember thinking back, like, wow, I used to think of some crazy things that I wished I could have, but the peace and serenity that I felt in my body, serenity is such a beautiful bit of peace. It's not something I ever expected to have. I didn't even know it existed, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't have done. And I know we'll dig deep into your early journey soon. For me, the word that goes along with serenity for me is contentment. I love that word.
Contentment. Yeah, I love.
Contentment. Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone chases happiness. I feel like you're chasing that forever. You know, I, I think content. I live my life through 4 C's. Like first C being connection, contribution. The second C, the third C is cope, and under cope would be sleep, mindfulness, and movement, exercise, and then the fourth C would be cook. So be basically eating well. Give the idea behind that is to give everything, the body, the mind, and the body the nutrients it needs to fill for deficiencies, for us to be creative, and to understand our deep, meaningful purpose at a deeper, higher level. However you want to look at it,
I
But
love that, man. I love
yeah,
that. Like again, it goes back to that balance, doesn't it? And
balance. Yeah.
I really am on this journey of personal development and wellness. I want to be, my mission each day hypothetically is to be a better person. Keep moving forward. Now I don't get it right every day, but on a weekly basis, I'd like to think that there's a tiny bit of growth. And following a format like that. And interesting because contentment isn't a word that really is in my vocabulary, but I totally get what you're saying. And
Yeah.
I tell you what, Andy, the gratitude I have today, and the peace and serenity and contentment is something beyond my understanding back in the day. You know, I even refer to gratitude as being my drug. You know, like the peace and serenity that I have today, contentment, is what lights me up. You know, it's the thing that I have a very similar routine on a daily basis, but I don't know. Gratitude it's an action. You know, we hear that all the time, but I don't wake up happy today because I did something good yesterday. It comes as a direct result of all the hard work that I put in on a daily basis last week, last month, last year. All of that stuff continuously leads me to, I guess, this feeling of contentment today. You know.
Yeah. Is there a gratitude practice that you follow? Do you write things down every morning, every night? Is there something that can maybe somebody can take away from you today on that in that regard?
Every single day. This is there's so many things I do in gratitude. I'm a super kind person. Wherever I go, I always let people know the positive impact that they've had in my life. Now, that might sound a bit cliche, but literally what I mean is if I see somebody do something good, I let them know always. You know? The shopkeeper, people, the oh, the woman at my gym this morning, right? This is interesting, right? I love to. I've never spoken about this, but she signed me up when I joined. It was only 4 months ago. Isn't it funny when they sign you up? They're all nice. They're really happy and friendly. They're beautiful, you know. And then they just become like a.
A worker.
I won't say what she becomes, but I watch her on a daily basis, and I always try and I think what happened. This is weird, but I always think what happened to that initial time when we met. You know, and I watch her today walking around with a kind of a miserable look. And I get it. You're at work. You're probably cleaning. Like you're listening. You're putting up these assholes at the gym, whatever. But anyway, I always say goodbye to her. She's a bitch as far as I'm concerned, but I always say goodbye. I always smile. Um, but you see, I really do enjoy making other people smile. It's my job. It's my job as a man in recovery and a human being, just to try and share a message of love and hope to anyone struggling. And you know, sorry, that's just one example, but kindness is a huge thing. Smiling, people have come back to me time after time after time again, years later, and say, Danny, I remember the day I met you. You know, I remember you being kind. I remember you calling me by my name. I remember your smile. And finally, one of the biggest things I do every single night, whether I'm watching fucking Netflix or whatever I'm doing, I pause. And I say to myself, Danny, what did you do good today? I reflect on, what did we do good today? And then I go through, what could I do better tomorrow? And that simple little tool, and I pray. I pray for my family, my friends. I pray for motivation, my fear to be removed, and I pray to be happy. That's kind of my nightly thing. But that little gift there, my daily inventory, helps me stay on top of everything on a daily basis. So if I'm thinking, what did I do good today? Give myself a pat on the back. What could I do better tomorrow? Not you fucking failed at this, but what could I do better tomorrow? It's the perfect recipe for gratitude, I think, mate.
I love it. Yeah, no, it's great. What is your plan for today to do better today than you did yesterday then? Just taking a very quick break to thank our sponsor, SU Skincare. If you haven't heard of them, SU Skincare started right here in Australia, using Australian ingredients to make skincare straightforward and accessible, especially for men who want results without the fuss. Their journey took them all the way to the US, where they were featured in Macy's and over 300 stores. Now they're back with a fresh approach, focusing on healthy skin and authenticity for everyone. I'm proud to have SU Skincare as a sponsor on Leading Our Own Way. See the show notes for their website and to see how you can keep your skin healthy and confident. And if you're interested in sponsoring like SU Skincare, drop us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Now, right back to the episode.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, interesting. So what could I have done better yesterday? Well, I guess would be more of the question. As soon as if I come into it I guess, yeah, I see what you're saying. Mate, just to at the moment I've noticed that at the gym actually that I was a little bit. I've had a lot on my mind. Yesterday at about 8:20 p.m. I did a breathwork session, just a 6 minute um breathing exercise, and I said to my partner, I said to Kyra earlier that fuck, I just feel so overwhelmed. And we trained at the gym yesterday as well, and I noticed I was kind of rushing a bit, and I don't like that because I go to the gym to feel good. And
Yeah,
anyways, I took some time out yesterday at 8:20 because I had a meeting at 8:30. By the way, that's why I did it. It was a 5 minute breathwork session, and I noticed today that I was training way harder. I was sweating the whole time, and I thought back to that breathwork thing. Maybe that's what helped. So
absolutely.
yeah,
And sleep, your sleep could have contributed to that too. The
yeah,
quality of your sleep. I don't know. Obviously, you can only reflect on that, but the
yeah,
quality of your sleep. That's
yeah,
something I've really tried to focus on because I used to go to bed at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because I didn't want the next day to come, and I'd be eating shit all night. I was just counting those minutes down.
yeah,
Because if you go to sleep, the next day is pretty much there, isn't it? So my brain was like, well, I want to push that back as further as I can. So I'm just
yeah.
going to stay awake because then, you know, tomorrow doesn't come as quick.
Yeah, Andy, you know what? Thank you for sharing that. Look, man, let's face it, that mindset is such a common mindset, especially like in, the poor mental health addiction kind
Yeah.
of space. I've been so blessed for so long now that, I got to say, like, it's incredible. I don't know how I've done this, but I, I almost go to bed excited for the next day every single day. Even when I'm hurting. Like
Mm.
let's go back to some of my darkest times in recovery. The depression, the madness, the badness, the sadness. Relationship breakups. The loss of my dad last year. Even then, I don't know. I've been able to flip. I've been able to flip it to find. It's almost like I need a shit day. I need a shit couple of days because if I don't have that, how do I really plug into the higher forces of gratitude on those good days? And
Yeah.
again, saying that out loud might not, you can't feel that, but I love a shit day. Like when shit happens, I have this ability to go, all right, I might even go to bed and pull the doona over my head and just say, Danny, just look after yourself for a bit. And I need those days, mate. Those days help me with the good days. So
It realigns you a little bit, doesn't it?
it
I mean,
does.
we've been talking off air with what happened with me recently, and I've been quite content for a while. And we had last Saturday, the other Friday, we had a tornado run through our house. And then as you know, and I can share, I had my social media hacked and then bank accounts hacked. So there was my 3 in a 7 day period. And I'm not going to lie, even though I don't want that to happen to me or anybody else, it's kind of what I have learned from that. One, it's realigning me because I want to get back to how I felt before that. And also I think the Andy that was before this journey began for me, I think that would have knocked me under again, deeper. And I'm actually quite calm. I don't have my personal Facebook, so I don't have access to everybody in the UK, my friends, my family. Yeah, we can do a WhatsApp. They don't even know it's probably missing. And actually, I feel at peace that I'm not checking my phone all the time at the moment. So my point is, I suppose, there's positive coming from that negative.
Yeah,
Even though that is stressful, there's still some positive, and my mindset wouldn't have been there
yeah.
4 years ago, 5 years ago.
That truly is a mindset. Andy, I lost all my social media for 3 months from, I think it was the 14th of June to the 14th of August, 14th of
Oh,
June, July, August, to
September.
September.
Yeah.
3 months I lost it. And man, I relate so much to what you just said. And I also understand that not everybody would have taken it so well, but I just fuck. What are you gonna do? Like shit happens in this world. There's two kinds of acceptance, right? There's the acceptance that we say, "Oh, I've got to accept this," and then there's acceptance, which is just, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is out of my control. I am powerless about this. The more I fight it, the more it hurts me. I don't want to hurt. I want to be my best self and letting go. So yeah, I totally, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Like a shit day, it's just like, just look after yourself, Danny.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
it's a crazy mindset to be in. don't get me wrong. When I first got clean on the 15th of September 2009 was my 1 day clean, right? We're literally talking. Maybe it's 16 years, 4 months, and 6 days, actually. So I know that because I kind of keep track. But mate, I was angry, bro. I was angry. I was sad. I hated everybody. I couldn't stand emotion. Don't fucking hug me. It's just like fuck off to the world. I was so anxious. I was so um. Uh, I used to think about walking in front of the bus like on a regular basis, you know. Um,
Okay,
and
so your mental health state now then, if from 0 to 10, 0 being rock bottom, 10 being, that contentment word or serenity, however you want to look at it, where would you say you sat now then on that line, that scale?
I'm going to say a 9. I'm a 9
Yeah.
out of
Uh,
10. I love that you asked that. I run group 1 or 2 times a week, and one of the first questions I ask everybody is on a scale of 0 to 10, okay? 0 equals you're sad, miserable, unhappy, life is fucked, and
mhm.
10 equals you're chuffed and full of gratitude. In fact, you're so happy that your happiness annoys your friends. I said, what's your number, you know?
Yeah.
I answer that question almost on a daily basis.
Oh,
And
good.
you know what, bro? I have been a 9, even when shit is down. I'm a 9 on average. And mate, I know how lucky I am for that because I work with hundreds of people. And mate, the average number is like a 6 or a 4 or a
Yeah.
3. You know, you got those people, and I know if people are listening to this, people who might say they're at a 3 now and they can't get above that. My answer to this is if your number is lower than a 6 or even a 7, let's work on it. There's something to do. You know, if your number's above a 7 and you're honest about that, and if you are abusing substances, maybe it's working for you. And I'm not here to say you need help. But if your number's below a 7 regularly, maybe there's something you could do to boost your happiness. And actually, I believe there's so many things. I reckon you can teach gratitude. You know, you can teach somebody to be happy. You know,
Yeah.
there's this little thing saying we choose to be happy. When I heard that in my early days, I used to just think, fuck off, excuse the swearing. Is it okay that I swear on here?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
It's just like I used to just think, get fucked with you. Choose to be happy. Like that was insulting, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and today, mate, I totally get it. Like I choose to be happy, and when I don't choose to be happy, it's because I chose that. I know
Yeah.
because we love everyone loves a bit of a pity party. I love a pity party occasionally, you know. There's a little saying in the 12-step fellowship, but you know, pour me, pour me another drink. So be careful how much you fucking get into the pity, you know, because next thing you'll be doing is back on it. So and look, I haven't come close to getting back on it for a long, long time, but yeah, I
W-
do love a bit of a pity party, but not for long, mate. You know,
Not the old Danny now.
nah, nah,
Well,
nah.
so okay then, on that same scale, then where would it have? What was your lowest number ever? Do you
Yeah,
think?
bro. I'm gonna look. I don't want to. I don't want to like make out like it was worse because I got to admit, right? I know we haven't really got into this, but I'm a pretty fortunate kind of guy, you know. Like I didn't experience sexual abuse. Um, you know,
But
I
there's
had
no ranking on trauma.
my ranking on trauma. I'm gonna say a
But
5.
so your lowest that you've ever been is a 5, would you say?
No, no, no. Sorry, I guess I'm talking overall my life on average, the 5. But my lowest, mate, my two rock bottoms for me. One of them was sitting in a jail cell in Darcy One, which is Silverwater, MRRC prison, on a concrete bed. Um, Hanging out from heroin, wanting to die, vomiting, shitting myself. And I remember standing up on this concrete bed, and I wanted to like this is sick, right? But I wanted to jump and land on my neck and just like kill myself. You know, I wanted to. The only way I could stop this pain, like imagine I'm in that cell for probably 48 hours by now. I'm sick as a dog. All I can think, the only way I can stop this is to like I'm picturing myself standing up on this bed. I'm on the bed, thinking if I just dive and I jump as high as I can and land on my head or on my neck.
Yeah, wow.
So that's one of my rock bottoms. Another one would be living homeless under the bridge in Woolloomooloo. There was quite a few nights that I spent sleeping under the bridge, just down from the King's Cross. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired, hanging out, just miserable. Haven't brushed my teeth for 6 days. Haven't I had a shower for 10. Those were some of the lowest I go. And mate, fuck, well the numbers are it's a 1. Like I wanted to be. I didn't want to be here.
I think it's negative, mate. A -0 somehow.
Yeah, but man, on average, I'm going to say a 5. Like, I guess actually, I don't know, man. I don't think about it. I do literally have this ability. I do not regret my past in any way, shape, or form. I wish there was people I hadn't hurt along the way, definitely.
Yeah.
But apart from hurting people, you know what? Every day I spent in prison, which is probably 7 years, between the age of 18 and 28, I spent the majority of that time locked up. I deserved every day. I'm not dirty at the cops or the screws because, mate, I was a ratbag. Imagine if I got caught for all the shit I didn't get caught for. I definitely deserve that 7 years, mate. So, and I truly believe, Andy, I am here today. I have this incredible life. I have Encapsulator. I have all these things because of my story. I literally would probably be some, I don't know, mediocre bloke in some dead-end job or whatever. I don't know, but I literally have the most incredible life today because of the damage I did to myself and to the community and because of the hard work I put in to build my life that I have today. So,
yeah, people say you look. People turn, and you've said it a few times. Like I'm lucky, and my response to that is, I don't think it's luck. I don't believe it's luck. I think you've created your own luck.
I have. That's a good point, Andy, and I totally agree. One thing I really try to do, and I'm not suggesting that this isn't against this, but one of my real tricks or one of my best assets is I try to be as humble as I can. And the minute you say you're humble, you just lost humility. Right? So let's just claim that right now. I'm not trying to say I'm humble, but it's like
I'll say it.
But yeah, sure. But so what I'm saying is my little secret recipe to my success. Okay, I don't know if I've ever shared this, but I try to be as authentic and real and share my truth to the core as much as I can. And through doing that, so that means I focus on all my defects. I talk about when I'm sad. I'm not afraid to wear my heart on my sleeve. Now, I'm very, very fortunate, okay? I want to share this. Anyone trying to get on social media today, right? This is a huge, this is a huge thing. Anyone trying to be careful because the world is sick. They are troll. There's some sick internet bullying going on. But you know what, Andy? They can't get me. They can't touch me anymore. They haven't been able to for a long time because I've built this persona. I've built this image. Like people try and attack me online, and you're going to have 20 people trying to attack them back. So I just let it go. I love the negativity because they're helping me. But yeah, I guess what I'm saying is over the years, I've been able to wear my heart on my sleeve so much that my story is out there. There's nothing, dig up whatever you try and dig up from my past. I've shared it a million times and everyone knows my truth. So therefore, I can't be trolled. It's a big claim. It's crazy that I say that out loud, but it's a beautiful thing too, you know?
I mean, I love it. I've seen some of the videos, and I advise anyone who doesn't know who Danny Shannon is, who's listening from my audience, please go and check out all of his social media. And what he's just summed up is exactly how he is. And I've seen actually some of your videos where you'll highlight some comments, and you'll go, well, I don't care. And then I love the little. Actually, I'm going to ask you to do it live here right now. There's a little noise you make at the end of your sentences.
Yeah.
Can you do that for me, please?
So. That's funny. That's I don't know where it. Well, I know where it comes from. My good mate Sam Wallace, when we travelled to America back in 2017, he had this oven noise, and he did it was similar. and my voice box, I can't make a lot of noises. Like if I try and cheer louder, my voice doesn't do that. But meh, it's turned into like a duck. It's like a meh. It's like I don't know. It's just like over and out. It's my little sign out. And it's
It's
so beautiful. People, I'll literally be walking down the street and someone will do that noise to me because of my social media. So it's a
love it.
claim. It's a bit silly too. I sometimes try not to do it when I'm trying to be professional. But again, I don't really change much of me for anybody.
No. Well,
And I
that's my
don't need
advice
to.
for everybody. Just be yourself. It
Yeah,
doesn't
just
matter.
be
Even in the
yourself.
workplace, just be yourself, And I love it when you do those little troll videos and then it's like signing off. It's like dropping the mic. I don't give a shit. Meh.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So but let's go back to your past then. You actually from my pre-notes it says you wanted to give your mum a shout out.
Mum, well, yeah, I've already kind of, yeah. So, my mum, my mum taught me all my values and morals. My mum does literally get a shout out in every single podcast, and I say that because I've got to say, that my happiness today, comes as a direct result of, I guess, all the things that I've learned growing up. And let's face it, we hear this too. Like, um, and of course all the hard work I've put in too. But my mum definitely taught me all my values and morals. My dad. He's also an absolute legend. He's nicknamed Shonky. He taught me everything I shouldn't know. My dad was a criminal. He literally used to put in orders for stolen equipment, him and his mates, and we would go out and get it. So both of them get a shout out wherever I go. But yeah, my mum, like, she gets in my social media. People know my mum already from without even meeting her because she comments on a lot of people's stuff that she knows are my friends. They go, everyone says, their mum's the best mum in the world, but I often hear that. I truly do think mum is like that. So, yeah, mum
Amazing.
always gets a shout out.
So your childhood, you said your dad was a criminal. Is that where it began for you then? Following your dad's footsteps, doing those type of
I
things?
don't think it probably did because, again, let's face it, like, um,
Because he was a jack of
we
all
are
trades,
weak,
wasn't he?
and we're definitely a direct reflection of the people around us. But so I always identify as having a pretty good childhood. Like, dad wasn't around hardly ever. Mum was beautiful. She did her best. There was definitely conflict between mum and dad. I won't go into that too much,
No.
but I sum it up as being a pretty good childhood. But basically, at 14, when I picked up alcohol, marijuana, and nitric oxide, the first time I got drunk and stoned, I got smashed. I got drunk, and I was on these nangs, the nitric oxide, putrid stuff. Anyone using them things, I send you all my love because they're just killing a million brain cells each hit. But I just loved it, bro. So I don't even blame it on anything of my childhood. But the minute I picked up drugs, I never stopped. I became an animal over about 6 months, and 6 months later, 12 months later, I was injecting heroin, and that's the day my life changed forever. At 15, I had my first shot of heroin.
Well, that's it with part one with Danny Shannon. And if you're feeling a bit rattled, you're not alone. Danny doesn't sugarcoat it. And honestly, thank goodness, because recovery isn't a 3 easy steps kind of story. What hit me hardest here is the reminder that addiction doesn't just take the person struggling, it takes the people who love them too. The ripple effect is real. Insight that I want to leave you with is your story isn't something to hide. It might be the exact thing that helps someone else stay alive another day. If this episode with Danny connected with you, do me a favour, share it with one person who might need it, and leave a review if you can. It genuinely helps the show reach more people. Oh, and press the follow button too. Part 2 is coming next, and trust me, the turning point is everything. Tuesday Truths tomorrow, but part 2 drops just after that. See you then. Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.